Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So, I want to do a Kipper Grand Tableau this time to check into Jack Smith's DC federal case against Trump for election interference or election obstruction, I guess, actually, is this one. This one's obstruction. Obstructing the election results, basically. So, and of course, we know SCOTUS stepped in and gave Trump immunity for official acts. So now that all that is done, I want to see how it's all going to go. So anyway, let me just bring you over to my table and get this going. I'll go as quick as I can. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I'm finally all set up. I'm using Cheryl Marchetti's deck. I want to give a special thanks to New Hampshire Mountain Dancer who sent me her deck that she had cut down. And that way the cards, they'll fit onto my mat. She noticed that last time. And she was kind enough to be so generous and send me her deck. Now, this deck naturally has 39 cards in it. So I had to remove 37, 38, and 39 because my mat only goes to 36. But, these three cards, it won't matter. This one's about karma and automation, people working their fingers to the bone, and this one is, and bad lighting too. And the community card, it can be my J6 card, and poverty is just, pretty much, that comes through a lot of times with money laundering situations, and human trafficking. But for the purposes and intents, I think this will be just fine to use 36. So I just have to get the question into the cards, get them laid out, and then we'll go. It usually takes me about 5 minutes for this part. So, go ahead and fast forward if you want. Okay. Jack Smith's DC federal case. What will be the effect on Donald John Trump? Now, Melania's card will come through as well. But, she hitched her wagon to him years ago, and this is her reality too. Okay. So, all the preparation going into, all the planning and strategy that Trump and his cronies had going on for the January 6th insurrection. They were saying it was planned up to like 9 months ahead of time. Pretty sure Mark Meadows already flipped on that one and several others, but there's still some that are just hanging in there real tight with them. There's a lot, actually, that are hanging in there with them. So, but anyway, Jack Smith, what will be your effect on Donald John Trump, his future, especially in light of the fact that SCOTUS has stepped in and given him immunity for official acts? What's coming down the pike for you, Donald John Trump? Right there. Okay, there's the strategy. So, and this is landed in Trump's house, so that's Trump's strategy, was to delay and push everything out beyond, but also this card coming in in Melania's house. On one level, we could just say he's looking for her and she's long gone. Their marriage is over. The bonds that they had are over. The bonds that other people had, because the marriage house doesn't have to be about just marriage. It can also be partnership and business partnerships. Now, because the imprisonment card is also about secrets, we can read on two different levels here. imprisonment for those who are bonded to him, even if he gets away, those people are still going to prison at some point, is what I'm getting here. Jack Smith will nail them. And when it comes to Trump and Melania, secrets are going to come out about their, I think mostly their financial issues, honestly. But anyway, this is also a card of the bonds the partnerships that Trump has that are, it's on one level, they're traps. He entrapped people. This is something he can't get out of, and those that are bonded to him can't get out of. All right. Jack Smith will be meeting over and over and over again as much as he can or as much as he needs to get evidence. There's some supportive man. There's some supportive man who worked for Trump. Here's Jack Smith, who also has a very supportive woman working for him, and he's looking to her, and also a supportive man working for him. That's interesting. To get the documents, just more evidence, to get things to work right. Because he introduced at least 180 new pages. So, yeah. Okay. Unexpected income in the house of good tidings. Good tidings is our letter message card. This is somebody flipping to help Jack Smith out, to help themselves out, to help them keep themselves out of prison. Jack Smith is going to have information about overseas, the dangers of people overseas, people in other countries having any part in our election. And I think he's going to prove that the plan came straight from Putin and then worked within the constraints of, who was that guy, like Jeffrey Clark and those other ones that knew the way, they know how it works in the USA, probably way better than Putin. But Putin was in on it. Okay, the change for Trump is ruh-roh. I mean, this was a whole new indictment, right? This was the 5th time he was indicted. But the message of concern card in the change house, that means change in his job, change in his, has he ever really worked? Just to fill his coffers, I suppose. But he's good at grifting and cheating. Grifting, golfing, cheating, lying, stealing, all of that. But the change coming to him will be very disappointing. He's going to be confronted with something. This is a card of crisis where a person has to let go. It's also a card of psychological disorders. And if you combine these two cards together here, I'm seeing drugs and alcohol. Okay, the change card coming in the journey house, now the journey house can be our soul journey. It can be just movement. It can be the way a person travels, all over the place. You could look at it being the house of airplanes and just getting out of Dodge and all of that. Well, he's, as it gets tighter and tighter down the line on him, he's going to be looking for a way out. Okay, when lots in the thief grifter card in the house it's actually the house of abundance. It's called win lots because in those days, I don't know. I guess maybe they just thought it was either lucky or not. But to me, win lots is it's just abundance. It has to do with a chance to earn money, a chance to increase your money. It can be inheritance. Definitely it's speculation and gambling, kind of a risk-taking energy. So for Trump, he's got this strategy to continue grifting, but Jack Smith is going to prove that because these two cards are knighting together. Oh, God. Family room in the house of rich girl. Okay, so rich girl doesn't have to be a person. It can just be health and luxury and creativity and all that good stuff. But it can be a young colleague, like colleague of his, somebody that worked for him. And I think that is the case because we've got the support of someone who worked for him in close quarters or close contacts. Okay, that makes sense to me. Rich young gent is going to be now rich young gent could be any of either of his sons, but also could be any of his younger attorneys. So there's a major loss for them. Okay, I like seeing that. Jack Smith is on top up here. So here we are with Jack Smith creating the loss to Trump's attorneys. In the house of sad news, well, it's going to be sad for the person who's been dangerously close to Trump and who's been cheating and lying and stealing and hiding things and evading the matter, delaying the matter, and all under false pretense. There's going to be secrets that come out about those guys. But then again, remember, imprisonment for those that are bonded to Trump. Okay? He might not live long enough to make it all the way through. But these other people will, and so there's that. Okay, as far as the house of good outcome, it's really, really, really hard to mess up that card in that house. The only way you do it is with a really bad card, and there we have it. So Trump will not have, because this whole spread is about, how will Jack Smith's D.C. federal case on the 2020 election, how will it affect Trump? His new case. So, loss that you just can't get out from underneath, and meanwhile, while it's all going on, Trump is being just tortured with worry and stress, and it's a card of self-destruction. It's my only card in the deck for violence, and we had nothing but violence at the January 6th insurrection. So there's that. Okay, as far as the mature woman coming into his thoughts house, the house of his thoughts, because it's so close to Jack Smith's card, I do feel like, and look at, she is the good lady, and he is in the house a good lady. So I don't know who she is, and I don't want, even if I did know, I wouldn't put it out there because I want all of these people to be safe from Trump and his cronies. But he has somebody, Jack Smith has somebody who is very wise and supportive. So there's that. Probably pretty darn psychic too. Yeah. And it could be somebody that's very attuned. It could be somebody from Jack Smith's past who's very attuned. And if you guys know who this is, do not put it in the comments, please. Just keep it to yourself because we want to protect her. But it could be somebody very connected to his work at the Hague. Okay. Gift. The house of gift is a flippage house for me. Flippage card and house. There are two flippage cards in the deck, and this one's up here. The house card, to me, is a card of Trump's clan. People in Trump's clan will be flipping. That's the short answer there. The infant, the house of infant, the card of infant, it can show up when somebody is having severe mental problems, which that is Trump's legacy. That's his legacy. That's how he'll go down. So I'll just read it at that. We can read it a bunch of different ways, but I want to save time. Okay, the house of fatality. Okay, so the coffin is the card of fatality. In the house of fatality for Trump, the discovery that's coming forward, the judicial process, all the legal matters and all the charges pressed on him, and the hearings and the decision that comes through will be fatal for him and create a huge loss. The House, like I said, here's the card here. Somebody's flipping, but the House of the House. Look at that. We've got the child, the infant card here. Okay. So fatal discovery, fatal judicial process for Trump that puts him back to his roots. And then he's like, oh, mommy, where are you? Is the way I'm reading that. Okay. The living room, here we have, it's the family room in this deck. That card came through and the rich girl, oh wow, the rich girl house. Here's the rich girl in the living room. I don't know. Maybe, whomever, see, I can't go with this, even though it pops into my head, I just can't trust it. I think of things like Laura Loomer just because she's like out in the, But we have to reel ourselves back to 220, to 2020, right? The year 2020. And the only one that I can think of that would be super helpful to Jack Smith with evidence is Cassidy Hutchinson, right? She was in on the inner circle. She blew the cover on Mark Meadows. Remember the binder that disappeared and all that? We know damn sure that binder held all types of information about a plan that came straight from Pooty, plus the plan that came from, was it Jack Clark and Jeffrey whatever? Is it Jeffrey Clark? Yeah, Jeffrey Clark and whatever, the other guys. I can't remember their names. Here's Trump. So all these cards are weighing down on him. He's looking forward to this. Then all these other cards are going to be sneaking up behind his back. But he lands in the house of, it's actually Jack Smith's house. Jack has tons of support. Look at the card that knights to him. And this card knights to him. And this imprisonment is hanging over him because of the work that he's done to try and steal the election, and it's dogging him, and he can't get out from under this. Wow. Okay. The wealthy man, which is the good gent. Oh no, good outcome. The rich young gent right here. Let's see how the numbers match up. I'm sorry that. Well, it's not my fault. I didn't create it, but Gerald Marchetti's deck changed the names on all the cards, pretty much every single one of them. And the mats that we, that are out there go with the old, go with the original Kipper. So there's that. Okay. Anyway, diversion there. So for the wealthy young man, or wealthy man, this is somebody under 50, definitely under 50, landed in the house of court, the courthouse. So with the courthouse, this is our SCOTUS house. Here's the card itself. So what's coming up behind Trump is the fact that SCOTUS has already ruled that he can be exempt from official acts, but not unofficial. So is it a part of a president's official capacity to instigate an insurrection? It doesn't make sense to me. In the house of theft, we have courtship, which is, the courtship card is the same as this house up here. So we're trying to link these houses together as well. And it does form part of a diagonal too. So courtship is our card for meetings. And evidence for the, from all these meetings that Jack Smith has been engaged in, all the depositions and all of that. And he has the transcriptions, the testimony, and there we are. And that's in the house of theft. So Jack Smith, and he's up here at top, so he has a lot of control here. He's the boss up here with a lot of support, and also he knows everybody. He's been kicking ass and taking names. He knows all of the people who are involved, including Jenny Thomas. Okay, so to have in this deck, it's the High Honor card. Here's the house, and then we have Great Fortune coming in through this house. The only way to mess up, and this can mean a lot, this card too can have just a simple meaning of a lot, kind of like the fish card in the Lenormand. But the deal with this card is you can't really mess it up unless you have at least a few negative cards around it. And we kind of do. Let me go ahead and lay out all the other cards. Yeah, oh my goodness. Let me lay out the other cards so I can get some more clarity here. Yeah, this card's messed up because we've got bad health. We have expectation. It isn't easy in his situation. Because remember, the whole thing here is about Trump, and all these cards are sneaking up behind him. So the Journey card feels to me like something coming full circle from the past. And he's been helplessly waiting. He's been delaying as much as he possibly could. That's what this card's all about up here, right? On one level it's like, where's Melania? But on another level, this is him pushing this as far down the road as he possibly could. And meanwhile, it's going to lock everyone else up. Possibly besides him, because this card is hanging over his head and knighting to him. Jack Smith's been working hard on that. And, because of SCOTUS, he had to find another workaround. But it's looking good, you guys. It's looking good. I think that we can just read this in the sense of a lot. His reputation will be completely tied to a lot of violence and stealing that has a massive amount of cronies. Theft amassed due to his cronies. Yeah. And then, of course, he's looking forward to not only court, but I think his attorneys being a part of this whole grift, right? Because look at these cards over him and this guy, which would be both of his sons as well, are terrible. And then if we're looking at just who this is on a personal level, it's somebody in his close, either his family, and I'm going to read it as both, his family and the cronies that helped him devise this plan, because he didn't really have the brains to do it himself. So there's that. Okay, these people, they're going to be very sorry. The despair card, this is the sorrow card, right? They're going to be very, very sorry, and they have to flip. This mature man here, I am going to read as, well, on one level, Rudy Giuliani, who has lost his law license. He's been removed. You know what? It could also be Bill Barr. This could also be Bill Barr in the House of Illness. It's somebody who Trump had control over because it's below him. And it's somebody who could have stopped it but did not. And it's somebody who's also worried. Now look at Trump. He's up here. He thinks he has control over whether he can go to prison or not. Well, Yeah, you can if you get the hell out of Dodge, right? If you go to another country. But they're not going to like that. They're probably going to come after you, dude, because you have, military secrets, I would suppose. Unless they were just, I always felt like they I don't know if they were totally feeding him after a certain point, feeding him any truth. But anyway, that is a distraction. So anyhow, with the adjudication card in the court official, I mean, this is the same card in the same house, so it's a double whammy of going before the judge. So in this situation, this would be Tanya Chutkin, and her sitting there listening to everything and the whole investigation. And meanwhile, Trump is really, really worried about going to prison. To have the card of concern, and this is in other decks, it's gloominess and doubt. This is a card of feeling very helpless and very pessimistic. We have to say that Melania is feeling this way as well, because she's, probably picking up on the truth at some here and there. But this is him. He's depressed. He has, just very, very cloudy thinking, and it nights to him, so this card connects to him. The other card that connects to him, besides the thievery card, trying to steal the election, and the violence from January 6th, mulling all of that over, is the marriage card, and that is gloomy thoughts. That is this card here, right? So he's worried. Trump is worried about his marriage. I would hope he has figured out that it's been gone for a long time. But the marriage card is also our card for, like I said before, partnerships, right? And what's in the marriage house? Like I said before, it's imprisonment and secrets and all of that. And then here we are with his partnerships that are very doubtful. And, he's insecure about that. They're insecure. They're depressed about it. They're probably just really freaked out about it themselves, because they know that Trump has immunity, but they don't. They don't. And when it comes time for flipping, they're going to be, sorry, dude, but I don't want to go to prison. So they're going to flip if they can. Mark Meadows was probably, I got that he flipped way back in the beginning. And I think that he did that because he could see the writing on the wall. And the way those agreements go is you are, with an immunity deal, you have to go and give testimony if they ask, and you have to go every time they ask. And if you lie, then you can go straight to prison. And it's way worse. So we'll see how this goes. But, I'm thinking this is Mark Meadows. I'm thinking it's also our stand-in card for Rudy Giuliani. Mark Meadows would be the only one that would get the reason I'm positive this is Mark Meadows, because I know he flipped. And then he's going to get a better deal because he did it earlier on. The other ones will not. The other ones are not feeling that same sense of, okay, I might skate through this without going to jail. Yeah. Then again, he might. Mark Meadows still might. He may have some type of just very reduced sentence, or ankle bracelet, lose his passport. It's probably been taken, I would think. So I'm wondering, is this good enough? Because it sure looks to me like Trump is sunk with this one. The younger ones that have been backing him up, his attorneys and his sons, anyone under 55, The older and the younger are really in trouble here. That's where they're heading. Let me go ahead and just use some major, well, let me do three things before I close this up. The first thing is focus in on his card. Okay, so again, he's in the house of the officer, which is Jack Smith, and it's all about rules and regulations. And because we have a need for security in any, anyone in any country, you want to be secure. Those are our rules and regulations that are set up. Because the coffin is hanging over his head, it's a very painful loss for him. The evidence is hanging above him. It's going to come raining down on him. And Mark Meadows and any of the people that supported him. I mean, this card is really just, it has so much to do with support. And because it knights to the family room, this is the reason I can firmly say that a lot of his cronies, or if not all of them, will be deeply affected. Him being on top of this inquiry, this might be, I think this has to do with the fact that Tanya Chutkin has had to rearrange everything because of SCOTUS's, because SCOTUS did put this is our SCOTUS card, and they did create a mess, but it will prove to be fatal for Trump. It's still not going to work. That's what I like seeing here. And like I said, all these other cards just connect to his cronies and the flippage of the cronies. Work for him? Yeah, you think you can hide? Oh, no. Yeah. That's interesting there. Okay, so that feels complete. I don't feel like going into any more because I think I did cover everything here with all the knighting here. We covered the knighting here. Yeah, well, I'm good there. So now let's open up the reading here. The first 3 to 4 cards are really important in a grand tableau. So again, this is Trump, because this is the house of Trump, the main man, and this is his strategy. And it's all he's thinking about too. Like he can't think about anything else. He's wondering over time. The pathway card is just all about time. When it comes to timing, it could be 1 to 2 years. In 1 to 2 years, he could be in prison, or he might get out of Dodge. I don't know. I mean, I think because this card landed in Melania's house, this is by 1 to 2 years, she'll be out and gone, out of the marriage, too restricted in the marriage. And he very well may wind up in prison. Because there's all the evidence. This is the card of the evidence. Okay, so now let's combine the corners. And I tend to, some readers just do the 4. I tend to do the brackets here. Okay, so we always start at, well, at least the rules I learned by, you start at the lower left. So here's the first bracket. So it's Melania, and she's helpless. And she's concerned about him going to, well, I don't know, would she really care if he went to prison? I kind of doubt she really cares if he go to prison. Honestly, I feel like she's combined this. I feel like she'd have a brand new life. But then again, I don't know. So, but what's hanging over her is all this discovery, and so there's that. So this, when it doesn't look good for both parties, of a couple, then there's something really, really problematic. And so it looks terrible for her here. It looks terrible for both of them up here with these 3 cards here. There's change, but it was a journey started a long time ago based on his actions in the past. And then here are the consequences. That's knighting to this card. And then again, I covered this already. So the strategy that he thinks he can push it down for a couple of years. I don't know. I'm thinking probably less than 1 year. Although trials do take quite some time, because we're talking a trial that will have a fatal effect on him. Okay, then skipping over here, this is the the reason for all this trouble over here that could put him in prison is the answers are showing up over here. It's because of his lying and cheating and malignment with a foreign country, and maybe more than one foreign country, but for sure Pooty, and then the change that brings through, and the just ruined, the ruin that he has, this major crisis, and the ruin that he has created in his life. And then down here with this bracket, we have the sudden wealth coming in. This house belongs to this card, this distant horizons, hope, good water, whatever. It's a card of it's a house and a card of yearning and longing. And so for Trump, he's going to be hoping that somehow there's some kind of payout for somebody that he can get away. I think this just connects to him trying to make an agreement that, because I've seen this in so many other readings because I read on them every week, but I keep seeing that he has been kind of shopping for overseas, another country, like a connection. Maybe that's why the sons were where were they in, like Serbia or some other. They've been all over the place. Like, they haven't been around. They've been in other countries. And they're up to something. So I think that's what's going on. And to have, now the High Honor card, we could also see this as like a Trump Tower. And then in the Infant House, this could be like a new start. Trying to start a new Trump Tower in another country. And it's all just to lie, cheat, and steal and to get away. And then he's hoping for that and hoping for the money to bring that through and all of that. But, once he loses, he's no good to Pooty at all or to anyone else. So, but he is, I've always believed that he is, a very strong part of a transnational money laundering crime syndicate. So there's that. And that is here. That's the risk here. And in the Hope Good Water house, this is foreign. He's hoping for sudden wealth or some kind of wealth to come from his loyal, bonded relationships in other countries. And he's been planning that. This is our card, same card as this one here. This is our house of what's planned and what can come over a year or two. Whether or not it's going to work, I don't think so, because things coming together and the way people work together, we have the bad health card in. So there's something that levels him. I think it's probably him and his own health. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I feel complete now. And I'm going to get it uploaded and hope you guys are doing good. Take good care. Bye.